The current affairs from environment in the month of August. The first one relates to amendment to environment assessment, that is environment impact assessment. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has notified amendments to EIA rules, making several exemptions for certain projects. Now, the exemptions notified by the ministries are for highway projects of strategic and defense importance, that are the projects lying from within 100 kilometers from the line of control. Now, biomass-based thermal power plants have also been exempted, and they have put a limit of 15 megawatts, and 15% petroleum products use is allowed. Now, fish handling ports and harbors have also been exempted, and these are supposed to be catering to small fishermen. Now, toll plazas have also been exempted in the new rules, which need more width for installation of the existing toll plazas. Also, expansion activities in existing airports have been also exempted. Now let's move on to the second topic, which relates to the Supreme Court judgment on Aravalli Hills. Now the Supreme Court has declared that all lands in Haryana covered under the Punjab Land Preservation Act will be treated as forest land. Now the significance of the judgment is that the verdict will protect the Aravalli Ranges, which is one of the oldest mountain blocks in the world. The range also acts as a barrier against desertification of breadbasket of India, that is North India. The verdict has upheld 3 decades of jurisprudence on Aravalli Ranges, which is a key feature of NCR. Now the ruling will end the destruction of Aravalli Ranges by real estate sector. This has been validated by the fact that the 3 states, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and they have also significantly lower forest cover than the national average of 21.7%. Further, Haryana is the lowest at 3.6% of forest cover. Now, the destruction of Aravalli Hills has already extracted a large economic and health cost in NCR, and according to a World Bank estimate that the environment destruction costs Indian economy approximately 80 billion US dollars, which is 5.7% of the GDP annually. Now the major cost was on account of pollution, as it results in significant mortality load among adults. Now recently India has added 26 new Ramsar sites or wetlands of international importance. The number now has been increased to 75. So let's look at the new Ramsar sites. So after the addition of 26 new Ramsar sites, India's Ramsar sites are spread over 11,000 square kilometers, which is 10% of the total wetland in the country, which is spread across 18 states. No other South Asian countries has as many Ramsar sites as India. Now the National Wetland Inventory and Assessment compiled by ISRO estimates that India's wetland to span around 1,52,600 square kilometers, which is 4.63% of the total geographical area of the country. Now let's talk about the new Ramsar sites. The first one, Palikarni Marsh Reserve Forest. This is a freshwater marsh located in Chennai. Karikili Bird Sanctuary, which is again in Tamil Nadu, it is located in Kanchipuram district of Tamil Nadu. Pichavaram Mangrove, it is located in village near Chidambaram in Kudlur district of Tamil Nadu. Vedambanur Wetland Complex, which is again in Tamil Nadu, is a human-made inland tank believed to have been constructed in the regime of Pandyan king Veer Narayana. This wetland is also an important bird and biodiversity area. Now the Velour Bird Sanctuary is part of the Central Asian Flyway. Kunthakulam Bird Sanctuary, which is in Tamil Nadu, is a man-made wetland. It is also an important bird and biodiversity area and is also a part of Central Asian Flyway. Vedanthankal Bird Sanctuary, again in Tamil Nadu, is comprised of freshwater and is an important bird and biodiversity area. It belongs to the Coromandel Coast Biotic Province. Uday Marthandapuram Bird Sanctuary, again in Tamil Nadu, is one of the most important bird sanctuaries in Tamil Nadu. This site stores floodwater during monsoon overflow and maintains surface water flow during drier periods. Gulf of Mannar Marine Biosphere Reserve, again in Tamil Nadu, is located on the southeast coastline of India and is unique in marine. It is the first marine biosphere reserve in South and Southeast Asia. Now let's move on to Chitrangudi Bird Sanctuary, which is in Tamil Nadu. It has been a protected area since 1989 and has been an ideal habitat for winter migratory birds. Now Suchindaram Thirur Wetland Complex, again in Tamil Nadu, is part of Suchindaram Thirur Manakundi Conservation Reserve. It is declared as an important bird area and lies at the southern tip of Central Asian Flyway of migratory birds. Uduvur Bird Sanctuary, again in Tamil Nadu, is human-made irrigation tank shelter for migratory birds, as it provides suitable environment for food, shelter and breeding ground. Anjira Kulam Bird Sanctuary, again in Tamil Nadu, is notable as a nesting site for several migratory herons that roost in the prominent growth of babool trees here. Now Pala Wetland, which is a natural wetland in Mizoram. Sakya Sagar Lake in Madhya Pradesh is part of the Madhav National Park in Shivpuri. Now, Sirpur wetland, which is again in Madhya Pradesh, is a historical wetland situated in Indore. Yashwant Sagar, which is in Madhya Pradesh, is also an important bird area and is used for water supply for the city of Indore. Now, Satkosi Gorge, which is in Odisha, is located in the river Mahanadi. It is the meeting point of two biogeographical areas of India, that is the Deccan Peninsula and Eastern Ghats. Now, Tampara Lake, which is in Odisha, is among the prominent freshwater lakes in Odisha. Hirakund Reservoir, which is again in Odisha, is an earthen dam in Odisha started in 1957. The reservoir provides important hydrological service by moderating floods in the Mahanadi Delta. Ansupa Lake, which is again in Odisha, is the largest freshwater lake in Odisha. It is an oxbow lake formed by river Mahanadi. Now, Nanda Lake, which is in Goa, the majority of the lake is intermittent freshwater marshes that lie adjacent to one of the major rivulets of Zuari River. Ranganathith Bird Sanctuary, which is in Karnataka, is an important bird area in Karnataka listed by Bombay Natural History Society. Now, Thane Creek, which is in Maharashtra, it is a freshwater fed by Ulas River. It is fringed by mangroves on both banks and comprised of around 20% of the total Indian mangrove species. Haigam wetland, which is in Jammu and Kashmir, it falls within the river Jhelum basin and plays a significant role as a flood absorption basin, biodiversity conservation site, ecotourism site, livelihood security for local communities. It is also recognized as an important bird area. Now, Shalabag Wetland Conservation Area is again in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, large area of wetland dry up between September and March. Now, let's move on to entry technology by IIT Bombay, that is in-situ treatment of sewage. Now, the Brihat Mumbai Municipal Corporation, that is BMC, has planned an in-situ treatment of sewage from drains to prevent sludge and sewage drains flowing into the sea. Now, about the entry technology, disinfection is done using sodium hypochlorite, and it is a 7-stage process whereby screens, gates, slit traps, curtains of coconut fiber are used for filtration. The first stage involves screening. The second stage is a silt trap. The next three stages, that is 3, 4 and 5, are installations of biozones. Now these biozones are in the form of coconut fiber. Now these coconut fibers promote the growth of biofilms that help in the decomposition of organic matter. Now the sixth stage consists of floating wetland with aquatic vegetations. The seventh stage is disinfection, that is the addition of sodium hypochlorite to kill the bacteria in water. Advantages of the technology are that it is a natural and environment-friendly way of sewage treatment. Its setup takes place within the Nala channels, that is through in-situ or on-site method of treatment, and does not require additional space. Now let's move on to the fifth topic, which is clean healthy environment as universal human right by UN. Now the United Nations has passed a resolution declaring that every person has the right to live in a clean healthy environment. Over 160 UN member nations including India have passed the resolution. Not a legally binding resolution. The resolution recognizes the right to a clean, healthy, sustainable environment as a human right essential for the full enjoyment of other human rights. It calls upon states and international organizations to adopt policies and scale up efforts to ensure a clean, healthy, sustainable environment for all. Now, the significance of the resolution is that the right to a clean and healthy environment is not included in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that is of 1948. So this is a historic resolution that will change the very nature of international human rights law. Now, issues with the resolution is that the word clean, healthy and sustainable lack an internationally agreed upon definition. The resolution text also fails to refer to the foundational principle of equity in international environment law. Now let's move on to the sixth topic, which is United Nations guidelines for children displaced by climate change. Now the UN-backed agencies have released the guiding principles for child on the move in the context of climate change. It is the first policy framework to protect children displaced by climate change. Now let's look at the impact of climate change on children. 1 billion children, that is 50% of the world's 2.2 billion children, live in 33 countries, and nearly 10 million children were displaced following the weather-related shocks in 2020 alone. Now, the children who move in the context of climate change may be exposed to a variety of risks, such as abuse, trafficking, exploitation, and other forms of maltreatment. They may also lose access to education, may be forced into labor, and endure poor living conditions. Now, the guidelines for the children have been issued by a joint initiative of International Organization for Migration, UNICEF, Georgetown University, and United Nations University. The guidelines are a set of 9 principles which address both internal as well as cross border migrations. The 9 principles are right based approach, best interest of the children, accountability, awareness and participation in decision making, family unit, protection, safety and security, access to education, health and social services, non discrimination, and nationality. Now let's move on to the climate change and weather forecasting. The Director General of Indian Meteorological Department has said that the climate change has hampered the ability of forecasting agencies to accurately predict several events. The IMD is installing more radars and upgrading its system to meet the challenge. Now let's look at the observations made by IMD DG. He says that the climate change has increased the instability in the atmosphere. This is leading to an increase in convective activity, thunderstorms, lightning, and heavy rainfall. The severity of cyclones in the Arabian Sea is also rising. Now, the long term trend of precipitations are also changing. Parts of north, east, and northeast India are showing a decrease in rainfall, while some areas in west, such as West Rajasthan, shows an increase. Now, monsoon in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Meghalaya, Nagaland has shown significant decreasing trends in the recent 30-year period. Now, cloudbursts have become more frequent in the Himalayan regions, and mini cloudbursts refer to 5 centimeter or more rainfall in an hour. Reason for intense rainfall is that climate change has increased the surface air temperature, which in turn has increased the evaporation rate. Since warmer air hold more moisture, it leads to intense rainfalls. Now, how does the IMD wants to improve weather forecasting? Now, IMD's forecast accuracy has improved by about 30 to 40% in the past 5 years, and these improvements are due to improvements in observational network, modeling, and computing system. Now, IMD is installing radars. Now, radars have the benefit that they have a higher resolution and can provide observations every 10 minutes. It has put up 6 radars in the northwest Himalayan, and 4 more will be installed this year. Ministry of Earth Science also plans to upgrade its high performance computing system from a capacity of 10 petaflops at present to 30 petaflops in the next 2 years. This will help with a higher resolution. Currently, the modeling system works at a resolution of 12 kilometers. The target is to make it 6 kilometers. Similarly, the regional modeling system will be improved from 3 kilometers to 1 kilometer. So let's talk about new alternative technologies to reduce carbon emissions. Scientists world over have been developing several new low carbon technologies to cut carbon dioxide emissions. Some of the recent developments have been in the paper industry. Now, paper industry produces zero point 0.9 billion tons of CO2 a year. Now, scientists have invented a gadget that sucks the ink off the printed paper so that each sheet can be used 10 times over. Now, the steel industry globally releases carbon dioxide emissions which are equivalent to 3 billion tons, now which is roughly equal to India's annual emissions. A multinational steel manufacturer, SAB, which is in Sweden, has developed the world's first zero carbon dioxide steel. The reaction with hydrogen and iron produces only water. Now, cement industry produces 2.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide a year. Now, England has been experimenting with a method which uses a sandwich of cement and steel. Now, this smart design allows less material to be used by harnessing the different physical properties of cement and steel. This innovation cuts material cost and halves the carbon dioxide emissions. Plastic industry generates 1.8 billion tons of carbon dioxide a year. In Netherlands, a chemical firm Aventium is claiming to have created a plant-based plastic which is derived from wheat and corn to rival PET, that is polyethylene terephthalate, which is used to make most soft drink bottles. The new product is called PEF, that is polyethylene furanoate, and is said to produce 33% fewer emissions than PET. Now, recently, the Union government has revised India's INDC, that is Intended Nationally Determined Contributions under the Paris Agreement. The commitments made by India in 2015 had basically 3 primary targets, which were a minimum of 40% of all energy generation must come from non-fossil fuel renewable sources, a reduction of 33 to 35% emissions intensity, that is emissions per unit of GDP, below the 2005 level and creating an additional cumulative carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalent by 2030 through additional forest and tree covers. Now, India has revised its INDCs, that is, India will now reduce emission intensity by at least 45% by 2030. Also, India will ensure that at least 50% of its total electricity generation, not just 40%, would come from renewable sources by 2030.